Hey everybody, this is James from South Texas RC and BRB Racing. What I am working on today is going to be a restore of a Traxxas EMaxx. I've already started the tear down on this vehicle. I was going to show doing the center drive shaft, the axles, and the carriers, also adding the fans, but it came down to the point to where I found out that I have the wrong center drive shaft to show on this project, but we can still proceed with the rest of it. We're going to have a lot of noise and stuff going on in the background because it is family time. People are running around and about, so I'm just going to crack in here and just talk as I'm going through here on this truck. I also found out that the previous owner of this vehicle also Loctited the plastic together in the front knuckles, and that is a big no-no, so we're going to have to also play with some fire and torch these out. So I hope that this video is going to be informative to y'all on how to do this, and I'm going to start ripping through it. Hopefully the light's not going to cause too much of a glare. Problem I have is this piece here, that's a big no-no. You do never ever want to Loctite this piece in place because you will virtually never get it out without breaking it. The only way to remove the Loctite is with a torch, and a torch and plastic are not going to mix, so you all get to see me destroy this piece. Along with the carrier is going to get melted, so go ahead and put Loctite on this, guys, if you want to destroy your entire knuckle. As you can see, that's what's happening. And it's still going to be stuck in there regardless. It's just going to be a melted goo mess. This is going to put up quite a fight getting this out. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the actual pillow balls and bring this thing straight out. That way I have it in my hand to work on it. As for the center drive shaft, I can even put a part 2 center drive shaft video together. It's not that hard to do, but I will go ahead and show that. I'll make a part 2. Okay, that's out of the truck now. The unfortunate part is I need these actual balls for the other one, so I have to take this apart one way or the other. So, yeah, this is just going to be total destruction. In all honesty, the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a power drill and drill these out to get those balls out. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. That way we're using up a whole bunch of time just you watching me drill something out. Okay, I have the drill now. Let's show the carnage. Oh, that's painful. This is why you don't use Loctite on plastic, because your part will not be reusable. So I'm going to have to shear it right straight down the center. So yeah, if you want your knuckles to look like this, go ahead and put Loctite on them. I acquired this truck of a trade with somebody on Leave Offer Up, and didn't know what he was doing. Now apparently it shows he didn't know what he was doing. All I want is my pillow ball. The dust boot ring off. Destroy the ball as I'm doing this. Okay, got that one to pop out. Maybe I can force pop them out here. Yep, sure can. So I can forcefully pop them out the back. Wish we would have known that before I made a mess. Okay, cool. That's trash. Okay, let's go ahead and move towards the axles while we're in here. It looks to be that the worm gear is halfway covered by the actual front block. So yeah, looks like this whole front end has to be taken apart just because you can see it, but not get to it. No, wait a minute, there was a groove. That's right, there's a groove on the bottom. Almost forgot about that. Think about the old T-Max, they didn't have it on the nitro ones, so you could get in there very easily. Get to that grub screw. Okay. I'm probably out of view. I'm sorry, I don't want to move the camera. Taking the grub screw out. So right here is a slot, and right here is a slot. You can get that grub screw out. Okay, let's go ahead and pop these new axles open. Of course, So the bag comes with the new grub screws, and they have the pre-Loctite on the inside. And it doesn't matter which axle you grab out of all four because they are going to be the same front and rear. Okay. Make sure you put it threaded side up in the hole for this side. That way you're not fighting with having to turn everything around to get it to go into place. You can feel it pop in the hole. And once again, everybody tighten these down to where they stop, but don't make them gorilla stripping tight and strip off the top of that worm. Because if you do on that little screw, you're going to have a major problem. So that's nice and snug. So open up the RPMs. As you see, I already got this torn apart and took the center out and then found out it was the wrong piece. So that was a major bummer. Okay, so let's see what RPM includes here. Okay. And of course, they are labeled right hand and left hand, so we're good there. What they've got in here. They've got, looks like, two bearings there and two bearings here. Of course, what I like to do with the bearings is put some oil on them, even if they're brand new. Get a towel real quick. Okay. Let's go and put some oil on our bearings. I'm using just regular 3-in-1 oil. Do not use WD-40 on your bearings. It's not oil. WD-40 stands for something. I'll give everybody a pause to figure out what it stands for. WD-40. Says it's a lubricant, but actually WD-40 stands for water displacement 40 weight. Pop the new bearing in. Do the same for the front. Nice. And now let's set up the pillow balls. Oh, cool. It even says in the package, caution, RPM bearings are shipped with a light rust preventive oil. It's not suitable for proper lubrication of the bearing. Carefully remove one of the shields and apply a thin coat of your favorite bearing lubricant. I didn't remove the shield, but it did soak in past the shields. Looks like this is going to be this way. This cone sits in here like this. I have to go get my Allen key set real quick to actually install these. So we'll grab that and I'll be right back. Allen key, oh Allen key. There we go. So it's a 5 mil. tight fit. That is nice. Nice and stiff. Feels good right there. There's not a lot of play, but we'll do the final adjustment when it's on the truck. Drop a little bit of oil down in there. Work that around. Same on the back side. Just drop a little oil in here and work that around. Looks good. Such a tight fit, it makes you want to think that you're actually cross-threading it. And actually, this one does want to cross-thread. It's definitely at an angle. There it goes. Make sure it goes in straight, but it's still, to be honest with you guys, it looks like it wants to go at an angle. That's no fun. So let's do this. Apply some pressure right here to this top. It's poking upward. Get it straightened out. There we go. Perfect. Okay. There we go. So that's going to take care of that right there. And of course we'll adjust it when it's on the truck. We'll be right back. And disappointing also, I just checked those hexes to put on here. I really didn't want to go back with hex anyway because of the problems with on these Traxxas hexes. They wobble back and forth on the axle, and those are also wrong. So back to the hobby store tomorrow when they open. So no center drive shaft tonight and no wheel hexes. The reason why I want to go back with those wheel hexes, though, is these tires are really super nice. So I don't want to lose these tires. But I might just take something off my nitro truck before it's over with and put this back to a 14mm hex system. But that we'll find out as we go through the video. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and install. The axle's already bolted down there. Pop this in place right here. Nice. And once again, guys, metal into plastic, no Loctite. No Loctite. I can't stress that enough. No Loctite. Loctite is intended for metal on metal parts. Thank God there wasn't Loctite inside of here. Then we'd be looking at video part 3, new arm replacement. Well, these guys, I like to wind them down until I see the threading disappear all the way into the arm. And then once I do that, I'm going to probably give it around, I think it's 3 turns is what generally where it sits. So that's going to be 1. Actually, looks like just 1 on this one. Maybe 1 1/4 after the threading's disappeared, and that's nice and snug. Same thing on the bottom. Lift this up where it's straight. I have to fight against the shocks. So we'll get this lined up in the hole first. Again, run it to where the threading disappears into the arm. And then it's going to be approximately 1 1/2 turns. So there's going to be 1 or 1 1/4, I rather should say. 1 1/4, oh, 1 1/2. We'll call it 1 1/2. We'll snug on this top a little bit more. So 1 1/2 in after the threads disappear. So there you have it. There's what this side looks like. Very nice. And I think I got that clearance set pretty good just by eyeballing it on the table. Let's play with it a little bit, see where it sits. If I do some back a little bit. That feels good right there. Not really dragging at all. Go back just a hair on it. And of course, like I said, when the wheel's on, we'll be able to feel if there's any play, but that feels really nice and smooth right there. If you make these too tight, then this is going to bind and not turn at all, and then you're really going to have some problems. Let's see if I can find myself. I've been knocking stuff around here. Tie rod screw. Oh, tie rod screw, where did you go? Grub screws everywhere. Center plate everywhere. Missing the tie rod screw. There it is. Anybody wants to send me a pit mat for free, hint hint. I'll leave you my address in the description below. Once again, guys, this is plastic into plastic, so we're not going to use any Loctite. And then once it stops, just give it a slight snug, and that's it. You keep turning, you're going to strip something out. So there you have it. This side is complete, just minus our hex assembly, or maybe, like I said, changing it up to something different. Only time will tell. I'm going to do the same process on this side here, and then move to the rear. Rip those little rubber dust booties out. Let's see if this side's Loctited together. And yes, it is. But it seems like we don't have to drill. Last time it looks like we just forced the ball out of the plastic. But the drill part was cool. Got a little carnage going on. Nothing like doing RC repair, you gotta have a little bit of carnage. Okay, let's get these pillow balls out. Okay. And of course take the tie rod off. Set that aside. Stick in there. Of course, I already took the grub screw out of this end. Yeah, let this give it a little tap tap. Ta-da! Alright, so let's see if we're going to get lucky. Don't grab it by the threads, but let's grab it before the threads. Ooh. Yep. So with enough good force, we can grab it, push all the way against it. That one's in there. And force this out. Hopefully without bending it. Good. Okay. Next carrier. Towel, bearing. Bearing. Oil them up. Of course, they say to take the dust shields off, but if you watch the oil, it does seep down past the shields without taking the shield off. There's no need to take the shield off. Works its way down there perfectly fine. Pop those off. Pop bearing in. Of course, too, they have a lot bigger bearing in here than in here, so that helps out too. Same thing for the front. We're getting rid of those really small bearings. Go with something a lot more beefier. Okay. Pillow ball. Pillow ball. Let's go drop the oil in now. We'll drop oil. Drop oil. That's for lubrication for those pillow balls. And once again, these were 5mm. So the way it's set up though, make sure you get it in there straight. Seems like the bottom one likes to go at an angle on these. I don't know what gives with that. Okay, lined it in. Still got some play in the ball. 1mm play, a little bit more. Okay, that feels good right there. A little bit of drag, let's back it off just a hair. There we go. Still some play, maybe a hair forward. I see you really can't get a good adjustment until it's actually on the truck. I've been messing with RC so long though, I kind of get a feel of where stuff sits by just putting it in. So you got the play that bounces up and down right here. Just wind this in. Still feel play. See, still got play right there. And now I don't feel any play. And it's nice and free. So that should be good right there. Okay, basically the same step on the axle. Doesn't matter which axle you grab out of the pile because they're same for front and rear. Make sure you have threads going facing upward towards you. Make sure you have that hole in the axle pointed upward towards you. axle on, get your grub screw. Drop that grub screw right down. I call this a blind hole right here. Gotta fish with it and you'll find where the hole is at. There's the hole. Then once again, wind it down. Until you feel it stop. Make sure it's in there good and straight. Snug tight, not strip tight. Beautiful. You put light on stuff, you really see a lot of dirt. I never cleaned this up after the last run, shame on me. I'll clean it tomorrow, thoroughly. Okay, same process for here. Pop your axle in. And just wind it until the threads disappear. Okay. There's dynamite right there, so it's going to be 1.5. Same thing on the bottom. Put where I can actually see down in there. And the threads disappeared. 1.5. Actually, that one went in further than that top one did. Even that out. Do the same to the other side. It does seem to still hanging out a little bit. Let's call it 3 turns in. Yeah, let's call it about 3 turns in. So 1.5 was wrong. It's going to be 3 turns, or 3.5 turns. You don't want to make it where it splits the arm, but that looks decently close right there and good. That one's free. That one's good. Go ahead and reinstall the tie rod end on this side. Helps when you grab the right tool. Ta-da. And then once again it stops and just is a little snug and you're all set, you're all done. So there is the front, and this should keep these annoying things from, the reason why I got rid of these on my EMaxx is because they were constantly, or not the EMaxx, the E-Revo, is they were constantly working their way back out. And if you watch the E-Revo video, I went with the hot racings on those. This time I wanted to try the RPMs. So, nice. And now the same process to the rear of the truck. I'm going to go ahead and just hang these nuts on the front here. And of course, same process to the rear. Kind of makes me still feel like on the Revo, there was that play that gets right here on the axle, and this thing starts jumping up and down, and I don't care what you do, it's still, I haven't found a method yet. I've put tons of Loctite myself down in these things, and firstly you have to almost Loctite the entire piece to the axle and it still will break loose. So I might just go ahead and scrap the 17 mils, but I don't want to lose those tires. Now, this thing looks like it got Loctited on too. Not really bad, but decent enough. Same process really for the rear as was for the front. You take off the tie rod, set that aside. Let's see if these are loose. Nope, they are also frozen in. Awesome. Just wind these out. I don't think we're going to do any more carnage with the power drill. We found a method of popping the, just force popping the ball out. You'll leave me some comments on that one if you love the carnage with the power drill. Here Bethany, Miss BRB back there in the background with her racing game. Playing the Xbox. The Xbox One. Said with like in the Where It All Began video, that's a little car enthusiast there. She loves her cars. And it'll be that hole, I want to call it like a blind hole to get in there. Right there. Spin it around to where you can see it. Make sure you grab the right tool, helps every time. I'm seeing Loctite coming out on this too. That's not too bad. I can understand maybe that little bit of drop that they put here, because of course on the Traxxas new parts there is that dry Loctite, not wet Loctite. Dry Loctite's a lot different, guys, than using wet Loctite. Wet Loctite gets down on a whole bunch of stuff it's not supposed to. I'm not saying don't use it for certain applications, I'm just saying don't use it on everything like it's the best thing in the world. Okay, once again, drop that axle down inside of here. Drop some oil down in there while I'm doing this. Okay. Pop it on. Give us a grub. A worm, a grub, whatever you all want to call them. Used to do a full automotive and you would actually call those a worm. Let's get this to line up a little bit better, point it down. And just fight around and find the hole. There it goes. Snug it in, snug it in. And snug. Perfect. Same thing, now let's assemble the rear hubs. Those could be stickers. I never use them though, I don't know why. Not a sticker fan. Bearings, lay them out and lube those. over, do the same process on the other side. And you can put your fingertip on the center and kind of work it back and forth and let that oil suck down in there. It's kind of like this. And you'll see it go past the dust shield. So just blot dry those off. Pop in that bearing. Pop in that bearing. Oh, that's right. We need the pillow balls. Pillow balls. Where'd I put it? There it is. Just rip these off. Once again, same thing. Grab it, not grab it on the threads. Pop. And pop. Garage. The bearing fell out. And same thing, I'm going to put a little drop of oil down there for the pillow balls. And these just go in here like that. Cone on the inside. Alright, guess the bearing's going to keep jumping out, so I'm not going to put it back in until I'm ready. Get it lined up. Play, wind, a little bit of play, wind, no more play, a little bit too tight, walk it back, good and loose, perfect. No more play, and that's movable, perfect. Put these parts aside so they don't get lost. Same process on here. Pop that bearing in. Pop that axle in. Get on there. She's angry. Alright. So we're going to do the same we did up there on the front. Let the threads disappear, and it's actually going to be, I want to see if it's actually a 3 count. So threads are all the way in. So, got 1. See, that was 1 and, 1 1/4. Weird. Slide this up real quick. Flip it upside down, whichever comes first. Put that in there. Threads look good. Maybe the arms are different. I don't know. Bring that down. Straight. Okay, threads have disappeared. Yep, right there. Perfect. Snug it top a little bit more. There we go. And then just reinstall the tie rod. Or toe link, or whatever you want to call it. In this case, we call it a toe link. If it will be a tie rod, this will be a toe link. Make sure I say that on there. So no one gets technical with me. You called that a tie rod. It's a toe link. Just run it down until it stops. Just a little snug. That's it. And what's going to go and hang this nut on the front. Perfect. Move to the other side. Is it Loctited in? Oh yeah. No movement. You can see the Loctite all built up inside of here. Grab my drink. RC and makes you thirsty. So we're almost up to stopping point. But yeah, I really don't mess with my nitro stuff as much as I used to. So thinking about taking that brand new body shell that I have on the EMaxx, maybe throw it over here. I didn't pull the tires off one of them, stick the 14mm back on here. I'm not too sure yet. Okay. I think we're all familiar with what's next. Pillow balls. Take them out. A little more on the bottom. The blind hole here on the bottom. And I'll do the same thing. Put a couple of drops of oil in there. Axle. Just point it towards me. Nice. It's moving. No, no, no. Well, that's disastrous. Right up there. And it moved. Try that one more time. Line that straight forward. Yep. I don't know if y'all caught that. I was getting ready to put the driver in there as the axle. Too late at night already. Losing my mind. Get on there. And all the other ones look so easy, and now this one wants to be a pain. It's the third time doing this. Like they say, third time's a charm, right? Okay. Facing forward, and you go. In the hole. There she goes. And then, of course, just get it in there. Tighten her down. Remember, don't strip it out. And nice and snug. Beautiful. Same thing, painful process. Let's destroy these. This is not the right way to take these out. Note. Somebody, why are you taking them out that way? I mean, watch the first part of the video. You see somebody Loctite and stuff in. Help assist it out of there. All right. Straight. See, that's not straight. It's right slightly at an angle. So everybody watch out for that. These things can easily get crossed. That's horrible. Take a quick break. Come back to this. And I'm back from break.
So your brake and your gas.
In the background, we're hearing my wife tell her how to drift on her game. So if you want drifting instructions, she's saying how to drift in real life. Everybody listen. Wish we were on live feed. I know she's getting annoyed with me taking so long doing this. If I was live feed, you go tell me she's coming up behind me with a frying pan getting ready to kill me. Nah, just joking. Okay, screw this one in. That one there did give me a little bit of hassle. It wanted to still kind of cross thread, so I had to fight with it a little bit to get it to where it needed to be, unfortunately. Of course, we are working with plastic parts, and sometimes things aren't casted perfectly. That was a little bit, looked oval. I kept messing with it to get it trimmed out where I needed it to be. Same thing if your shocks are still on, just push it all the way up to get it straight. Wind this in. A little bit further than that one. Let's do the top a little bit more. Nope, that's it. That's maxed. All right. Put the toe link back in. And then once again, just run this one down until it's snugged. A little turn in. Remember, you're going into plastic, so if you keep going, you will make yourself a way larger hole than you want. And where's the nut? Go and hang this nut here for right now. Like I said, unfortunately, we don't have the correct drive shaft for tonight. We don't have the right hexes. I said I'm debating if I want to get rid of the 17mm hex because of the simple fact of the wobble, but man, I just don't want to lose these tires. Keep the tires or keep a headache? Keep the tires, keep a headache. Don't want a headache. I like to enjoy running the car and not having to repair it every 5 seconds. So there you have it. Those are set up. Let's what can we accomplish still right now? We put the fan, get that knocked out. I think I've spent more time fighting with packaging and misaligned piece of parts than assembly time. It's ridiculous. So I've already done one of these before. The EMaxx, or not the EMaxx, I keep saying EMaxx because I'm working on it. The E-Revo was a little bit weird because of how the motor sat on there. I had to kind of modify it to where one portion of the shield was sitting down further with longer screws because it was hitting against the transmission. But this is going to be pretty well straightforward. It came with some blue spacers in there, some screws. Came with a wiring connector for the fan. And then of course the fans also come with their own screws, and those mount up here on the top. But let's just look at the hardware for the bottom end right now. Let's not go too far ahead. So transmission's also in the way on this vehicle right here. Right in there. That hump's not going to allow this to go through. For a fact, we can put this portion on. So I'm going to have to be creative and figure out how I'm going to center this up and make this work. To be honest with you, I'm really starting to even think about doing the same thing to the Revo. It looks like a zip tie might be my best friend. Or I would have to turn it. That's retarded too. That's not going to work. See, I definitely got to go back and do some stuff to the Revo also. Yeah, any way you look at this, this is not going to go and mount onto this motor. So let me go get the solution and I'll be right back. Alright, so basically what I found out is this is not going to work up underneath. Went ahead and cheated and worked on an idea before I started recording again. So kind of like their other fans for their smaller 1/10 scale, they snap on. So I bent this a little bit, pushed it down. Of course it'll stay there, but it doesn't stay. And you can't put a zip tie across here because of the fans, but I was able to put the zip tie, drag it through the hole, bring it here, bring it around the back side of where the wires are at, just kind of leave that poked in the back. So that's going to leave that secured on there. So that's going to be the, I guess we'll call that another hack on how to make something work. This was intended to be there, but I guess not intended for their models. So that's trash. Next up is the fans. Hopefully by bending it, I didn't bend these out of their shape or their hole where they belong. But knowing how this project's been going all night, something else will probably go wrong. If it goes wrong for me, that's good, because then that way y'all learn where it won't go wrong for y'all. Even the cat wants in on the action. So problem's going to be, that's going to be a tight fit. It's going to fight against that screw. So that's going to have to push backward. Then I'm going to take it to where the head of that is somewhere else. That way it's not pushing into the motor wire and give more room. So let's go ahead and cut this back off. So repeat step one. Y'all get to see that again. So I went ahead and like I said, this is flexible, and I bent it down a little bit to snap on like the other ones. It's not a good enough snap to actually keep it there. And then with the zip tie, took the zip tie, it's almost the right size, and just pulled it through with the pliers. I'm going to leave it longer this time. That's where I messed up. Yeah, that's going to put the head of it in a different spot. Okay. And we got the temp wire on this side. I don't want to smash it to the temp wire either. So it's going to end up pointing downward. Yep, tuck that down in here. Put more taut with the pliers. So that's going to be, it looks the way the best way to do is put it to where the head of that zip tie is down here. And then that's going to run really nice and flat, tucked in here behind the motor wires. And then just nicely trim off this end. Okay. Perfect. Now the fans fit. Okay, so we need screws for fans. I think this is going to be one of the longest videos I've ever done. I think we're already well up past an hour. Okay, and of course this is going to tie into here. So we just want to figure out which way we want our wires to go. So we're going to drop them off here to the side, go more towards the receiver box area. And once again with these two, just make them to where they run down and they go snug, and that's it, because you don't want to put too much pressure on that casing, because if you do, you're taking a chance of getting that casing warped out, and then the fan blade itself is going to hit the side, so it's just snug tight, and that's it. It's been a while since I've been in the receiver box, so I'm not too sure what connections we're encountering, if there's any open ports left in there or not. Hoping there is. These castles that they had for Traxxas are real finicky. I noticed with some of the wiring harness with the temp wire, it would not even come on the Revo until I had the certain parts of the wire harness hooked up. Yeah, so we need to loosen that up a little bit and scoot it over. Let's leave these loose at first. It's pushing against it. Let's drop that direction. So it did get a little bit malformed. Bending that. So what I'm going to try to do is kind of grab this, pull up on it again to bend it out. See if we can get that to bite. It does not want to go in. It just acts like there's not enough room. And it probably has to lay over a little bit where the zip tie is at, and all my luck, it's not hitting the south. Alright, for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and put you all back on pause and play with this and figure out how I'm going to get that to mount up properly. And I went ahead and opened the receiver box and found that we did have an open channel on here, channel 5 for battery. This thing is a complete rat nest of wire. And of course you'll see that these will have just that red connector on it, and it's not the same as that plugs into the receiver box, but if you can get a look down in there, as long as you do negative and positive, see how I've got it pushed in there? That will work for that. You can just line it up and make sure that you put negative and positive. And now flip it on. It was warped slightly by having to bend it. So with one screw, if I put it in, will bind the fan, but it has 3 and that's sufficient, and along with the zip tie. So everything's good and secured and got a lot of good air pressure coming out of it. So as of for right now, being that we don't have the center shafts, we don't have the hexes, and I'm still torn about what I'm going to do with the wheels. If I'm going to steal parts off something else and put it on here. To be honest with y'all, I think I'm going to call this a night. I am pretty well done with this. So look for part 2 of this video, because that's going to be your center shaft and the wheels, and like I said, whatever I decided on how I want to wrap this up. So I hope part 1 is a good instructional video for y'all and that you liked it. If you did like it, go ahead and push like. Hit that bell for notifications when more new videos come out. And if you are watching this, please subscribe to the video. I'm trying to get it to where we can unlock some new features on the channel. I can do with mobile phone, live feed. I can open up newer features on the channel once we get past 1,000 viewers. So everyone, if you're watching this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That way we can unlock the new features on the channel. So until next time, guys, look for part 2, and it will be finished up.